Manny's in there. He's in the closet. Just imagine hearing those words from a friend.
Right.
A comment that sounds, I don't know, maybe like a dark joke. Something you dismiss as just marital tension.
Yeah, something you'd maybe shrug off in the moment.
But what if that casual remark, the one you just shrugged off, actually hid something truly gruesome, an unspeakable truth?
That's exactly where we're going today.
Today on the deep dive, we are plunging into a really chilling case. A husband vanishes, just gone. A wife holding on to these incredibly dark, almost unimaginable secrets.
And a really painstaking, meticulous investigation that followed, which eventually uncovered this absolutely horrifying digital trail. It's a story that definitely challenges our perceptions.
It forces you to confront how these deeply disturbing truths can sometimes just hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
Even within the closest relationships.
Absolutely. And our mission today is to really take you deep inside the disappearance and, well, the presumed murder of Manny Salado.
We're going to meticulously trace the precise facts of this case, establish that critical timeline of events.
Pinpoint the key locations involved and really delve into the kind of intricate backgrounds of everyone caught up in this.
We'll follow the investigators as they piece things together, looking at the crucial evidence, the official reports.
And, of course, the dramatic courtroom proceedings that followed. We'll lay it all out in a clear, compelling narrative. It's one that will definitely keep you on the edge of your seat.
This isn't just a story, though. It's really a journey into how a marriage unravels, and into a mystery so unsettling, it'll make you question what you think you know about, well, human nature and the digital age we live in.
Definitely. And to really understand how all this could possibly unfold, we first need to meet the main players in this drama.
Okay, so who are we talking about?
Well, at the center, obviously, we have Exondia Salado, the wife. Her intelligence, her sort of controlling nature, it eventually takes a very dark turn.
Then there's Manny Salado, her husband. His sudden disappearance is what kicks this whole thing off.
Right. We also need to talk about April Stubbs. She's Exondia's longtime friend, and she becomes this really pivotal but also deeply conflicted witness.
Okay.
There's Rico Del Rosario, too, another critical connection. He actually heard Manny's last very chilling words.
Wow. Okay.
And finally, Exondia's daughter, Alayand. Her unwavering belief in her mother's innocence provides this really heart-wrenching contrast to the brutal accusations flying around.
All right, so our story really starts to take its sinister shape on October 11th, 2007. It's a Thursday, Oklahoma City.
Right, and you have to picture the scene. April Stubbs, who'd been friends with Exondia since their Navy days.
A long time.
Oh yeah, like 7 to 10 years. A real bond there, forged in the military, kept up over the years. She shows up at Exondia Salado's apartment.
This wasn't just a, casual drop-by.
No, not at all. This longevity is really key because April wasn't just some acquaintance. He was a trusted confidant, probably Exondia's closest tie in Oklahoma City.
Because Exondia was pretty isolated there, wasn't she?
Yeah, very much so. You have to remember, she'd made this huge upheaval just to be there. She moved to Oklahoma City in 2006, specifically to be with Manny, who was stationed there.
And she made a pretty big sacrifice with her kids too, right?
A massive sacrifice. She actually sent her 2 older children, Alajan and her brother, from her first marriage all the way to Florida to live with their grandparents.
Wow.
Yeah. Just kept her then 4-year-old daughter with her and Manny. This was, an all-in gamble, a huge commitment she made, supposedly, to save her marriage.
So the stakes for her were incredibly high, just immense emotional weight on this move.
Exactly. So when April arrives on October 11th, what does she find? Exondia is packing, actively packing boxes, getting the apartment ready to move out.
Because the marriage was basically over.
Visibly crumbling, yeah. Her 5-year marriage to Manny was ending. It's this moment of huge transition, uncertainty.
But it's right here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amidst the boxes, the tension, that's where the first really unsettling clue emerges.
That's the moment. It sets the grim stage for everything that follows.
And this decision to pack up, to actually leave Manny, this wasn't sudden.
No. According to what came out later, definitely not sudden. Exondia was apparently deeply unhappy with Manny's financial situation, his perceived lack of ambition. She felt he wasn't supporting the lifestyle she wanted.
She's just done.
Fed up. This move, this packing, it was her making a definitive statement. This is over.
And this first clue, it comes from such a simple question, right?
Yeah.
April's helping her pack.
Yeah, naturally asks, hey, where's Manny? What's he doing?
And Exondia's reply. It's just so bizarre.
Chilling, really. She just says, well, Manny's in there. He's in the closet.
In the closet.
Yeah. And April, in that moment, she shrugged it off. Didn't actually believe her.
Just thought it was a joke
Yeah.
or like a figure of speech.
Exactly. Maybe some dark humor about how bad things were. She just didn't actually believe her.
It's such a strange, almost darkly funny thing to say, isn't it? Knowing what we know now.
It really is.
What goes through your mind hearing that? It makes you think, how often do we just dismiss something odd as a joke, only to find out later?
It's terrifying, really. And psychologically, what does that say about Exandia's state of mind right then? Is it detachment? Some kind of warped humor dealing with, well, whatever she was dealing with?
It doesn't sound like a slip of the tongue.
No, the sources suggest it was deliberate. Cryptic, yes, but a hint at the dark reality she was already living. And that comment, dismissed by April then, would absolutely come back to haunt Exandia later on. Became a crucial piece for the investigators.
Okay, so to really get why things reach this point, this incredibly bizarre moment, we need to understand Exandia and Manny better, their histories, their relationship.
All right. Let's start with Exandia. Exandia Janita Link, born in Florida in 1971, but spent most of her childhood up in the Midwest, Chicago mainly.
And what was her upbringing like?
Well, it sounds like it was tough. Lived with her single mom, siblings, grew up fairly poor, is how the sources put it.
But she was smart.
Extremely. A straight A student, described as someone who was not the type of person to back away from a challenge. Someone who wouldn't take no for an answer.
Those are strong qualities. Resilient, determined.
Definitely. Qualities that, disturbingly, seem to have gotten twisted later into something much darker.
It's almost like those same strengths, intelligence, resilience, drive, could be used for, well, anything, good or bad.
That's a really central question here, isn't it? How do those positive traits curdle? Her background shows someone used to succeeding, used to being in control, achieving goals through sheer willpower.
And maybe when things weren't going her way.
Exactly. In a destructive context, that drive seemed to manifest as this methodical, almost obsessive approach to crisis, where every step, even the most grotesque ones we'll get into, was researched, planned. It's chilling. Brilliance without empathy, fueled by resentment. It became a tool for horror.
So after high school,
She set out on her own pretty quick. Married her first husband around age 20 out in California. That's when her daughter, Alejandra, and her son were born. But that marriage didn't last.
okay, so a young single mom. What then?
To support her kids, at 23, she made a big move. Enlisted in the Navy.
Seeking stability, maybe? A career?
Seems likely. And it highlights her resourcefulness again. She became an avionic technician. And the sources are really clear. She was brilliant on computers.
That computer skill keeps coming up.
It's crucial. She excelled at her new career, traveled large parts of the world with the Navy. It shows this consistent pattern, excelling despite challenges, and a real knack for technology. Skills that paradoxically become central to this story later.
Her strength, her intellect. They're undeniable, which makes meeting Manny in the next chapter feel even more significant.
Right. And Manny Salado, the victim here, he also had a military background.
Also Navy.
Also Navy, yes. Originally from the Dominican Republic, served in the U.S. Navy. That shared experience was the initial connection between them.
And his background, the Dominican Republic part, that becomes relevant later too, right? With the
Yeah.
defenses theory?
Exactly. That old flame theory relies heavily on his origins. But initially, that shared military background was the common ground.
So how did they actually meet?
Apparently, Exondia met Manny at a club when she was out with her friends one night.
And he fell for her pretty hard.
Seems so. Reports say Manny quickly fell for the attractive single mother, was just captivated by her looks, her outgoing personality, thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world, called her a bit of a looker, very outgoing.
And what about her kids? How did they take to him?
Initially, Alejandra, her daughter, who was a preteen then, apparently didn't like him. Which isn't unusual, right? New partner comes in.
Sure.
But eventually both she and her brother found him really nice. And Exondia and Manny, they seemed like a good match early on. Shared spurts of goofiness, apparently.
It sounds like there was genuine affection there, real family bonding, which makes the later stuff just so much harder to understand how quickly things soured.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? So this new family unit forms. Exondia finishes her 4-year Navy enlistment, decides not to re-up, focuses on the family.
And they moved.
Yeah, when Manny got transferred to Chicago, she and the kids followed him, settled down there, and in 2002, they had their daughter together.
The little girl who Manny was reportedly very close to.
Extremely close. She quickly became her father's pride and joy. He was described as a very active father, very hands-on. They got married soon after she was born, October 15th, 2002.
So Manny's still active duty Navy? What's Exondia doing?
Well, she took on the role of housewife, but not in a passive way.
Ah, using those computer skills again.
Exactly. Ever driven, she started a home-based business called Vibes Magazine, making websites for people.
So she's bringing in money, too.
Yes. And with Manny active duty, off and away, this setup basically meant she became the dominant force at home, both economically and personally.
The sources are pretty explicit about her being in control, right?
Very clear. She was the more dominant one in the relationship, unequivocally wearing the pants. She handled discipline, punishments, did most of the parenting.
And the finances. That seemed like a major point of control.
Huge. Maintained strict control of the family's finances. Even told Manny how much he could spend. That level of financial control is really telling about the power dynamic. It became a critical factor in why things fell apart.
So this control, it caused friction.
Big time. Growing friction. They'd fight often. And Manny, apparently not one for big confrontations, would often just leave the apartment to cool off.
But she wouldn't let it go.
No, Exondia wasn't quite willing to let him walk away. Wanted resolution, or maybe wanted to control how the argument ended?
So things are tense.
Yeah.
And then Manny gets transferred again.
To Oklahoma City in 2006, his final posting. And surprisingly, Exondia actually saw this move as a chance, an opportunity to try and rebuild their relationship.
Which explains sending the older kids to Florida.
Exactly. That huge sacrifice, taking only their 4-year-old daughter. It was a last-ditch effort, isolating herself further, committing everything to making this work in Oklahoma.
So much riding on this move for her.
Yeah.
A desperate attempt to hold on to the marriage.
Absolutely. But that hope, that fresh start, it was about to crash headlong into some harsh realities, pushing their already strained marriage right to the breaking point, and then way past it.
And those realities were mostly about money.
Largely, yes. Money woes and the pressure of this new, uncertain life really took their toll. In Oklahoma City, they rented an apartment. They had this plan, apparently, to open a computer company together.
Using Manny's separation pay from the Navy.
Right. He finished his enlistment, left the Navy, got his separation money. A decent chunk, but as the reports note, the money wouldn't last forever.
And the computer company didn't take off.
Exondia struggled to get her venture going. Meanwhile, Manny couldn't find stable, full-time work. He ended up taking unsteady, low-paying temp jobs. Satellite installation was one of them.
So the savings just dwindled.
Quickly, leading to severe money troubles. And that just accelerated the unraveling of their attempt to reconcile. People who knew them then said there was no laughter really anymore. Just little things would aggravate the other person.
The joy, the spurts of goofiness you mentioned earlier, completely gone, replaced by resentment.
Totally. And financial stress, while common, was just amplified here by Exondia's need for control and this huge gap between their hopes for Oklahoma and the grim reality.
So Manny tried to help. He joins the Army Reserves.
Yeah, desperate to contribute something, maybe get back some independence, he joins the reserves for a little extra money, goes through the warrior transition school, attends weekend drills.
And Exondia's reaction, was she pleased?
Sadly mistaken, if he thought she would be. She was reportedly so very angry about it, saw it as, not exactly a huge income occupation, basically not good enough.
And that was the final straw for her.
According to the sources, yes. That anger over the reserves solidified her decision. October 2007, she decides she's making the first move towards ending their 5-year marriage.
But not in a normal way.
Not even close. She starts packing, planning to move out. And crucially, she calls her friend, April Stubbs, to come help her pack. Which brings us right back to that chilling scene on October 11th.
Okay, let's pivot now to the actual disappearance and how the investigation kicked off. Because April Stubbs' growing sense of unease, it becomes absolutely critical here.
She's the key witness early on. She'd seen the marriage up close, how rocky it was, how their feelings would flip-flop back and forth, intense love one minute, intense anger the next.
And she told the police the main reason Exondia was finally leaving wasn't just money.
Right. April said while money was huge, the final straw for Exondia was Manny's alleged cheating. April claimed it started about 6 months earlier.
When Manny went to the Dominican Republic.
Exactly. Spring 2007, he went alone for his brother's wedding. That trip made Exondia deeply suspicious. April later flat out claimed Manny was not faithful, that he was seeing someone in the Dominican Republic.
So April's perspective really sets up this narrative of infidelity, betrayal, intense anger, which the prosecution later argues fueled Exondia's actions.
And April, being the confidant, the person Exondia talked to, makes her testimony crucial. And Exondia didn't just suspect him, did she? She used her skills.
Right, those computer skills again. She actually installed spyware programs on their computer.
Basically hidden software, right, to secretly monitor everything he was doing online, who he talked to, what he said.
And it confirmed her fears.
Brutally so. The spyware showed Manny was having a long-distance relationship, instant messaging, sending pictures, Facebooking with this woman in the Dominican Republic.
That must have been infuriating for Exondia.
Absolutely. But even worse, according to April, Exondia intercepted some divorce papers or some papers between Manny and his lawyers. She found out he was actively seeking a divorce.
Wow. So he was planning to leave her, too.
Seems like it. And April said this discovery made Exondia so upset and angry that she decided, okay, I'm making the first move. She was going to leave him before he could leave her.
But this discovery, it seems like it pushed her past just leaving. It set something much darker in motion.
It certainly escalated things beyond just packing boxes.
So October 11th, April helps Exondia pack. The marriage is over. Then the very next day, October 12th.
Exondia drops off her 5-year-old daughter with April, says she has things to do, including specifically going to Home Depot to purchase some equipment for the move.
That Home Depot trip.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds innocent enough when you're moving, right? Boxes, tape.
Exactly. Plausible on the surface. But as we'll find out, it takes on a really sinister meaning later.
And then Exondia just disappears.
Yeah.
For days.
She did not show back up until early Monday afternoon. That's 3 full days later.
3 days away from her young daughter. That sounds really out of character.
Hugely. The sources emphasize this was highly unusual. A major red flag right away for April. Something was clearly wrong.
And when Exondia finally resurfaces on Monday, her appearance, her words, they just confirm April's worst fears.
Oh, completely. She returns wearing army fatigues, a t-shirt, boots covered in mud.
Muddy boots and fatigues.
And worse, April noted she had a very, very horrific smell about herself. An odor she just couldn't describe, but it was awful, unforgettable.
Horrific smell. What did Exondia say? Where had she been?
When April, obviously alarmed, asked her, Exondia just cryptically replied, I had to take care of my package.
My package? What does that even mean?
Exactly. And then almost immediately, she made it a point to ask where a car wash was.
Okay, the mud, the fatigues, the horrific smell, the package, the urgent need for a car wash. April must have been freaking out.
Put it all together. It's incredibly alarming. This vivid description becomes powerful circumstantial evidence later. That smell needing the car wash. It strongly suggests trying to clean up after something really dirty, really disturbing.
So April connected the dots. Troubled marriage, Exondia's anger, this bizarre return.
Led her to suspect something had gone horribly wrong. This wasn't just a weird weekend. This was something terrible. The signals were just too strong to ignore.
And April didn't just let it go. She pushed Exondia for answers.
She did. Driven by this growing dread, she pressed Exondia. What happened? Where's Manny? What did you do?
And Exondia confessed.
Under pressure, yes. Exondia confirmed it. Told April that she had killed Manny.
Told her friend she'd killed her husband.
And not just that she killed him, she reportedly shared details. The method. She shot him twice in the chest.
Oh my God.
And then what she did afterwards. Admitted to getting rid of his body, too. Said she dismembered him and stored him in her apartment for about 2 days.
Stored him in the apartment.
Before ultimately hauling him in the back of her van and disposing of his body in a rural area somewhere.
This is horrifying. The detail. Dismemberment, storage, disposal. This wasn't a crime of passion, was it? This sounds calculated. Brutal.
That's exactly what the prosecution argued. The specifics amplify the horror. This becomes the absolute linchpin of their case. A direct confession, full of gruesome detail.
And for April, hearing this from her friend, I can't even imagine the shock, the betrayal.
Shattering. Puts her in an impossible position. What do you do with that knowledge? The psychological weight must have been immense.
She called the police.
She did. April called the Oklahoma City Police Department. Explained her good friend had just confessed to murdering her husband and dismembering him.
That's not a call the police ignore.
No. As the source says, that will get law enforcement's attention. And it did. Immediately, the official investigation was now underway.
So the police get this horrific call from April. What's their first move?
They dispatch a homicide detective straight to Exondia and Manny's apartment. That same evening, October 16th, 2007. This is now a potential murder investigation.
Manny's not there, obviously. But Exondia is.
Exondia's home. And when the detective questions her about Manny, she just says he was gone. Hasn't seen him in a few days, doesn't know when he's coming back.
How did she seem? Was she upset? Panicked?
No, that's the thing. She seemed calm, kind of matter of fact, no big deal type attitude.
Calm? After allegedly dismembering her husband a few days earlier.
Exactly. That calm demeanor immediately struck the detective as highly suspicious, especially given the call he'd just received from April.
So her story directly contradicts April's. She tries to mislead them.
Completely. Claims Manny had just run off with another woman, said he took all of his things with him, a clear attempt to throw them off.
Did she mention his phone? Because she told April he was in the closet.
She actually gave the detective Manny's cell phone number, said, just call him on his phone and he'll talk to you. Very confident.
Wow. Bold move.
She also claimed he'd called home a few days earlier to talk to their daughter, but when the detective asked where Manny called from, she just played dumb. I didn't ask him.
And did the detective ask her about April's claim? About hurting Manny?
Yes. Asked her directly if she'd told April she hurt him. Exondia flat out denied it. I haven't told anybody anything pertaining to Manny.
So total denial, calm facade, but the detective wasn't buying it.
Not for a second. Her casual denials, the inconsistencies with April's story, they let her go that night, but they were definitely not convinced. They knew they needed to dig deeper, get a warrant, and conduct a much more intensive search. They suspected homicide.
Okay, so the investigators are suspicious. Exondia's story isn't adding up, especially compared to April's horrifying account. What's their next step after leaving the apartment that first night?
Well, the first thing they did was act on Exondia's suggestion. They tried calling Manny's cell phone, the number she so readily provided.
And did he answer?
No good results. They tried several times. The phone was unreachable, just went straight to voicemail or was off.
Which immediately contradicts Exondia saying, just call him.
Exactly. It's a critical early piece. If Manny had just run off, like she claimed, why wouldn't he have his phone? It strongly suggested his departure wasn't voluntary. Something was seriously wrong.
So Manny's unreachable. Suspicions are sky high. They go back to the apartment.
Yes, this time armed with a search warrant. They needed to get inside properly and look for evidence.
What did they find? What was the state of the apartment?
The overall impression was haste, like someone was in a hurry to leave, there was trash everywhere, not tidy, chaotic.
But what about evidence of the crime itself? April talked about dismemberment in the apartment. Did they find blood? Signs of a struggle?
That's the striking thing, and initially quite perplexing for them. Despite April's graphic account, they found no blood, no obvious signs of that kind of violent act inside the living space.
No blood at all after a shooting and dismemberment.
One investigator specifically noted, if you would have shot someone in that apartment, if you would have dismembered someone in that apartment, there would have been something. There wasn't anything.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
And something the defense would later seize on, right? Arguing it was impossible.
Absolutely. It became a major point for them. How could such a gruesome crime leave no trace in the apartment itself?
But even without blood in the apartment, they found other things that blew holes in Exondia's story.
Oh, yes. Crucially, and quite ironically, they found Manny's cell phone.
The phone she told them to call him on? Found it in the apartment.
Sitting right there. The very phone she claimed he took with him. A massive contradiction.
And not just the phone, right. Other personal items.
Exactly. They found several of Manny Salado's personal effects. The kinds of things you just don't leave behind if you're voluntarily running off.
Like what?
His driver's license with an Oklahoma ID card, his military ID card, a shaving kit. Basic, essential item.
Okay, leaving your phone, your driver's license, your military ID? That doesn't sound like someone just leaving. That sounds like someone who left unexpectedly or unwillingly.
Precisely. It completely undermines Exondia's narrative that he packed his things and left. It points very strongly towards foul play.
And what about the weapon? April said she shot him. Did they find a gun?
No gun was ever found, which again the defense would try to use.
But they found ammunition.
Yes, and this was damning. They discovered a box of .38 caliber bullets in the apartment. Inside the box, which normally holds 50 bullets, there were only 44.
Meaning 6 bullets were missing.
6 bullets missing. While not definitive proof, it strongly suggested a .38 caliber weapon had been there, and potentially 6 rounds had been fired, which lines up chillingly with April's story of Manny being shot twice.
So nobody, no definite murder weapon, but Manny's phone and ID are there, 6 bullets are missing, and April's confession. Where do investigators look next?
Logically, they turned their attention to Exandia's vehicle, especially based on April's crucial tip.
About her needing to clean the van.
Exactly. April told them Exandia was very intent on cleaning that van and had specifically asked where a car wash was right after she returned from her 3-day absence. So the minivan became a prime focus.
And what did they find inside the van?
Their suspicions were immediately heightened. They found a real bad chemical smell, like somebody had tried to clean the van. Bleach, maybe, some kind of strong cleaner.
Suggesting a cover-up attempt? Cleaning evidence.
Exactly. Deliberate concealment. It directly corroborates April's story about Exandia needing to dispose of the body and then sanitize the vehicle.
And did they find physical evidence, despite the cleaning attempt?
They did. Turns out the cleaning wasn't perfect. In the rear cargo area of the minivan, they found a large stain.
A stain.
Blood. They used luminol. It's a chemical that reacts with the iron in hemoglobin, making blood glow even in trace amounts or after cleaning attempts. And that stained area was consistent with blood.
And it wasn't just a small spot.
No, it had apparently soaked through the carpet into the insulation padding underneath, indicating a significant amount of blood had been there, not just a surface spill.
Could they link it to Manny?
That was the crucial step. They sent the samples for DNA testing, and the results were undeniable. Investigators were able to extract Manny Salado's DNA from that very stain in the back of Exandia's van.
Wow. That's the physical link. Manny's blood in her van, right where April said she hauled the body.
A massive breakthrough. It definitively connects Exandia's van to Manny and to a violent event, powerfully corroborating April's account of the disposal.
So the DNA in the van is huge, but they still don't have Manny's body. What other evidence solidified the idea that he wasn't just missing, but dead?
Well, beyond the physical evidence, they checked his finances, his bank accounts, credit cards. Absolutely no activity on his ATM and credit cards since the day he disappeared. Complete silence.
And his military duty. He was in the reserves.
Right. He also missed an important event, his mandatory military reserve duty weekend. His commanding officer told police this was very much out of character for Manny. He wouldn't just blow that off.
So no money trail, missed military duty. It all points away from him just leaving.
Strongly indicates he wasn't just absent, he was dead. It was highly unlikely for Manny, described as disciplined and a devoted father, to abandon everything: his daughter, his military obligations, his finances, without a single word.
But legally, no body, no murder charge. Yeah.
It makes it much harder. The legal principle is corpus delicti. You generally need proof a crime occurred, and in murder, that usually means proving a death occurred. Without a body, it's difficult for the state to prove the death of a human being, so they couldn't immediately charge Exandia with murder, despite the mounting evidence.
And what did Exondia do while this investigation was heating up?
Soon after the police searched her apartment and van, she packed up her 5-year-old daughter and left Oklahoma City.
Where did she go?
First to Chicago, where she had family ties, then down to Florida, moving into her mother's house, trying to put distance between herself and the investigation, it seems.
And what did she tell her older kids, Alajan and her brother, about why Manny wasn't around?
The same story she told the police. That she and Manny had split up and she didn't want to go back to him, kept up the facade.
So Exondia flees. But the investigators don't stop, right? They keep digging.
Absolutely. They pursued other leads, trying to piece together Manny's final days, and their efforts uncovered this really chilling conversation.
Wow. Phone records.
Exactly. They examined Manny's phone records from before he disappeared. Found a call he placed on October 8th, just days before he vanished, to a guy named Rico Del Rosario.
Who was he?
A former co-worker of Manny's from that satellite installation temp job he had.
And what did Rico tell the police?
Rico said Manny called him that day, October 8th, sounding audibly nervous. Urgently asked if they could meet up.
This sounds important. An independent witness describing Manny's state of mind right before he disappeared.
Incredibly important, and it directly implicates Exondia as a threat, not just a nagging wife. When they met, Manny confided in Rico, told him, "I need a place to stay. I think my wife's trying to kill me."
Wow. He actually said that, "My wife's trying to kill me."
Those were his words, according to Rico. And while they were talking, Manny's phone rang. He looked at it, told Rico, "That's my wife calling."
Exondia calling him right then.
Yeah. He took the call, talked to Exondia for a few minutes. Then he made what turned out to be a fatal decision. He told Rico he was leaving, said, "I'm going to go home and talk to Exondia and try and straighten this all out."
Oh, no. He went back. Despite telling Rico he thought she was trying to kill him.
He went back. And Rico del Rosario became, as the investigators put it, the last human being to ever see Manny Salado alive except for the person who killed Manny Salado.
That gives me chills, Rico's account.
Yeah.
It paints such a grim picture.
Huh?
Manny knew he's in danger. He feared her.
It adds this terrifying layer, and that fear, that grim picture, was about to become even clearer, amplified by the absolutely shocking discoveries investigators made when they finally cracked open Exondia's computers.
Okay, this is where the case takes that really modern digital twist, doesn't it? The computer evidence.
Absolutely, a huge turning point. The Oklahoma City Police's Computer Forensics Division got hold of Exondia's seized computers. And remember, she was known for being brilliant on computers.
Right, she used spyware on Manny. You'd think she'd cover her own tracks.
That's the incredible irony here. Despite her own hacking skills, used so effectively against Manny, she apparently did little to cover her own tracks. Her search history, her downloads, much of it was still there for investigators to find.
So this tech-savvy woman made a massive blunder.
It seems so. Or maybe she felt untouchable. Whatever the reason, she left behind this incredibly damning digital breadcrumb trail.
And this isn't just like one suspicious search, is it? It's a pattern.
A deeply disturbing pattern. This digital trail gives us direct insight into her state of mind, her intentions, in a way witness testimony or even physical evidence sometimes can't. It reveals this premeditated, increasingly macabre plan taking shape online. It's almost like a digital confession.
So this case really highlights how crucial digital forensics have become, doesn't it? Especially when there's no body.
Definitely. It redefines evidence in the digital age. Her browser history became a key part of the narrative.
So what exactly did they find? How far back did these searches go?
Disturbingly far back. As early as July 2007, that's months before Manny disappeared, she was already doing Google searches on really alarming topics.
Like what?
Things like spousal murder and literally how to kill your spouse.
Wow, July. So this wasn't a sudden snap. This was something she was contemplating researching for months.
It shows a sustained, dark obsession taking root, not just fleeting thoughts, a macabre intellectual pursuit almost.
And did it escalate? Did the searches get worse closer to his disappearance?
Dramatically worse. On October 8th, remember, that's the exact same day Manny told Rico del Rosario he feared Exondia was trying to kill him.
The timing is chilling.
Unbelievably chilling. On that very day, her searches took a particularly gruesome turn.
Gruesome how? More than how to kill your spouse.
Oh, far more. The searches included phrases that are just hard to comprehend, things like cannibalism cooking people.
What, cannibalism? Cooking people?
Yes. Also cannibalism recipes. And she accessed an article titled Butchering the Human Body for Human Consumption.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's beyond belief.
Investigators themselves were stunned. One asked, who would know there'd be stuff on the internet about disposing of the human body by cooking it? It hints at this level of cold calculation, this depravity that's just staggering.
It's one thing to search for murder methods, but cannibalism recipes, butchering instructions, it pushes it into this whole other realm of horror.
It truly does. And the detail, it wasn't just general disposal ideas, it became incredibly specific. She started searching for pig roasting, specifically barbecuing a full-size pig in an open pit.
Okay, why pig roasting?
It seems she saw it as a potential method for, well, disposal, getting rid of a large object. She even downloaded instructions on how to build the pit.
Downloaded instructions, like a blueprint.
Exactly, a blueprint for a barbecue pit, specifying materials like sheets of metal and cinder block. This wasn't just morbid curiosity, this was active planning, researching a specific, grotesque method.
So she has the instructions.
Yeah.
Did she act on them? Did she look for the materials?
She did. Right after researching how to build the pit, she started searching for where to buy cinder blocks.
And where did that lead her?
Chillingly, it led her search results right to a Home Depot that was just a stone's throw from her apartment in Oklahoma City.
Okay, the proximity is disturbing. The specific materials, it's lining up perfectly with the online research. It's like watching a plan unfold step by step in her search history.
And it didn't stop at online searches. Investigators went to that Home Depot.
And checked their records.
Yes, and they found it, a receipt, showing that Exondia had purchased a list of items almost identical to the parts list that was found on her computer for building that barbecue pit.
When did she buy the stuff?
A few days after Manny disappeared. Specifically, October 12th, the very day she dropped off her daughter with April and said she needed to go to Home Depot to run errands.
The day she bought the cinder blocks, the tin, the wire,
Yeah.
the kit for the barbecue pit.
Exactly. And they even found the clerk who helped her load these supplies into her van.
I remembered her.
He did.
Right.
Testified at the trial. He remembered asking her, just making conversation, why do you need this roll of wire, these sheets of tin, 25 or so cinder blocks?
And answer?
Bone-chilling in hindsight. She told him, I can't tell you why.
I can't tell you why. Wow. Imagine being that clerk, hearing that later, knowing what those supplies were likely for.
It's that ordinary moment colliding with pure sinister intent, isn't it? He had no idea he was helping her assemble the tools for disposing of human remains based on her meticulously researched barbecue pit blueprint.
So she has the plan, she has the materials.
Yeah.
What about the location? Did her searches give clues about where she might have done this?
They did. Her internet history wasn't just about how, but also where. She was looking at Google Map searches,
For what kind of places?
specifically for places that would be nice and quiet, remote, secluded areas, consistent with needing privacy for disposal.
Calculated, cold-blooded, finding a spot where she wouldn't be disturbed.
Exactly. And police cross-referenced these Google Map searches with cell phone location data,
From her phone, or Manny's.
data from Exondia and a Manny cell phone provider. Using cell tower triangulation, they were able to narrow down a possible area where she might have gone during those 3 days she was missing.
Where was this area?
A 6-square-mile area in far eastern, very rural Oklahoma County.
6 square miles. That's still a huge area to search, especially if it's rural.
Immense. And they tried. For over a year, right up until October 2008, they conducted extensive searches in that area, combed through pasture land, heavily wooded areas.
Did they find anything? Manny's remains? The pit?
They never found the body. Nothing. That terrain, even in just 6 square miles, can hide things incredibly well, especially if remains were dismembered or potentially burned and scattered.
It highlights just how difficult these no-body cases are. The final, definitive proof might just never be found.
It's a grim reality. But despite that huge frustration, the absence of the body, investigators felt the evidence they did have was overwhelming.
The confession to April,
Manny's DNA in the van,
Rico's testimony about Manny's fear.
and this incredibly detailed, horrifying digital blueprint on her computers.
It formed this interconnected web of circumstantial evidence.
Exactly. Strong enough, they believed, to move forward with charges, even without finding Manny.
So the investigation builds this powerful circumstantial case, but Manny's body is still missing. How long did it take before they actually arrested Exondia?
It took time. 14 long months after Manny disappeared. The arrest finally came on December 16th, 2008.
And where was she living then? Still in Florida with her mother.
Yes, in Sanford, Florida, living quietly with her mother and her now 6-year-old daughter, far from Oklahoma City.
How did the arrest go down?
The Sanford Police Department showed up at the residence. They actually informed Exondia's older daughter, Alajan, who was 17 by then, first. Told her her mother was under arrest for first-degree murder.
Imagine hearing that about your own mother, especially when you believe she just split from your stepfather.
It must have been absolutely earth-shattering for Alajan, a profound shock. Remember, she'd been told Manny just left them. Now suddenly her mom is accused of his murder.
And the details of the alleged crime, the dismemberment, the barbecuing, Alajan just couldn't accept it, could she?
No, she found it incredibly difficult, sickening even, to process those accusations. She stated very clearly they accused her of, burning his body and chopping him up, and it's absolutely not true. Total disbelief.
That stark contrast, the legal accusation versus the daughter's unwavering belief, really sets the stage for the trial, doesn't it? An emotionally charged courtroom battle was inevitable.
Definitely. Especially relying so heavily on circumstantial evidence without the body.
So fast forward to the trial. When did it start?
March 22nd, 2011. Exondia Salado, now 39, stands trial in an Oklahoma City courtroom.
The charge: first-degree murder and the alleged method.
Killing Manny and horrifyingly barbecuing his body. That was the prosecution's narrative.
And the biggest hurdle for the prosecution:
The lack of a body. They had tons of circumstantial evidence, as one source put it, but no corpus delicti in the traditional sense. It's a rare and incredibly difficult scenario for getting a murder conviction.
And no body aspect is just huge, isn't it? Legally, psychologically for the jury.
Absolutely central. It forces everyone, the jury, the lawyers, the public, to really grapple with what constitutes proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Can you convict someone of murder without the victim's remains? It pushes the boundaries. The jury has to piece together this narrative from Fragments, digital footprints, testimony.
How did Exondia appear in court? Did she look like someone capable of this?
Descriptions paint her as looking quite unassuming, dressed in business attire, wearing reading glasses, appeared like an innocent, intellectual, harmless lady to some observers.
One person even said, I don't know if there's any such thing as what a murderer is supposed to look like, but she didn't look like it.
Right. And her daughter, Alejandra, watching this unfold, just kept reiterating her disbelief, found the accusations just disgusting, couldn't reconcile the mother she knew with these barbaric acts.
So the trial begins. The prosecution lays out its case, weaving together all that circumstantial evidence.
Exactly. Their core argument. Exondia was capable of this, she planned it, she did it, and she confessed.
April Stubbs's testimony must have been powerful.
Crucial. April took the stand and recounted Exondia's direct confession to her. Told the jury Exondia admitted she had had a fight, a physical altercation, and that she had shot him twice in the chest. That testimony provided the backbone, the narrative context for everything else.
And Rico del Rosario, his testimony about Manny's fear.
Also vital, Rico testified about Manny's chilling words just days before he vanished. Ricardo, I think my wife Exondia is trying to kill me. And how Manny was never seen or heard from again after going home that night to straighten things out.
The prosecution really emphasized how Manny wouldn't have just left right.
Hammered that point home, argued, you just don't leave without your billfold and your driver's license and your IDs. Pointed out there was no evidence of any passport usage or travel documents suggesting he'd fled the country, no financial activity.
And leaving his daughter.
They argued it was hard to believe that he would just leave his daughter, whom he adored, for some old girlfriend. Totally out of character. His complete silence for over 2 years, despite his family's desperate search, pointed only to one conclusion. He wasn't missing. He was dead.
And then, the digital evidence, the searches.
Formed a key, horrifying pillar of their case. Everything from spousal murder in July, escalating to cannibalism, cooking people, butchering the human body, the specific roasting of pigs research, the downloaded pit instructions, the Home Depot purchase matching those instructions.
They presented it as a digital blueprint, a confession written in her browser history.
Precisely. A chilling, detailed account of her intent and planning.
So, faced with this mountain of circumstantial evidence, what was the defense strategy? How could they possibly counter all that?
Their main strategy was to attack the credibility and plausibility of the prosecution's narrative, especially the most bizarre parts, and emphasize the lack of direct physical evidence, primarily the missing body.
They argued the barbecuing theory was just too outlandish.
Exactly. Too bizarre to be believed, they argued. Exondia's daughter echoed this, saying, there's no way that my mom could do anything so violent or animalistic, especially to someone she once loved. They were trying to create reasonable doubt based on the sheer horror of the alleged method.
Tap into that psychological resistance, maybe. Like, could someone really do that?
That seems to be part of it. Cast doubt through the extremity of the accusation. And they offered an alternative theory for Manny's disappearance.
The old flame theory, that he wasn't dead at all.
Right. They argued Manny simply wanted to ditch his responsibilities, the failing marriage, the money problem, so he just went back to the Dominican Republic to be with some old flame. They pointed to his visit there in March 2007 as proof he had connections, a reason to go back.
But what about leaving his ID and phone behind? That contradicted their theory.
They tried to spin it, suggested he left them behind deliberately as part of an effort to establish a new identity and disappear completely off the grid.
And they also questioned why, if Exondia was trying to cover up a killing, she would leave his phone and IDs there for the police to find.
Exactly. They used that potential inconsistency. Why would the supposedly meticulous planner leave such obvious clues? Pointed out she had close to 3 days to get rid of that stuff. That's always a mystery to me, one defense lawyer said. Why would you do that? Trying to poke holes in the prosecution's story of a perfect cover-up.
And the lack of blood in the apartment. That was huge for them.
Absolutely critical. They emphasized there was no blood in the house. Argued, you can't kill somebody and do what the state of Oklahoma said, chop up the body, and the qualified technical investigator not find some evidence of blood.
They also questioned the physical logistics, right? Exondia moving Manny's body.
Yes, they stressed the physical impossibility. Called Exondia a very small woman in size, maybe 5'6", 125 pounds. How could she move a 200-pound guy down the stairs by herself? Called it superhuman strength. Ridiculous. Highlighting the lack of struggle signs in the apartment as a major flaw.
And Exondia herself. Did she testify?
No, she chose not to. Apparently, she and her attorneys were confident, believed the lack of a body, the defense arguments about physical impossibility, and the bizarre nature of the disposal theory would be enough. Sources say she was convinced that she would go home without having to testify.
So the defense rests, believing they've created enough reasonable doubt. The case goes to the jury.
Exactly. The fate of Exondia Salado and the official conclusion on Manny's disappearance was now in their hands.
How long did the jury deliberate? Given the complexity, the no-body issue, must have taken a while.
Surprisingly quick, only 2.5 hours, they returned to the Oklahoma City courtroom on March 29th, 2011.
2.5 hours. That's incredibly fast for a murder trial, especially one without a body.
It really is. The central question for them, as one observer put it, was still, well, there's no body, how do we know beyond a reasonable doubt that she killed him? But clearly, they found their answer quickly.
The swiftness suggests the circumstantial evidence was just overwhelming to them.
It speaks volumes about how compelling the prosecution's woven narrative of digital evidence, witness testimony, and physical traces, like the DNA, must have been.
And the verdict.
Guilty verdict to murder in the first degree.
Exandia's reaction.
Reportedly showed absolutely no reaction, just stoic, detached.
And the sentence.
She was sentenced to life without parole, a sentence that apparently surprised even her own attorneys, considering her lack of prior record, her military service.
But the prosecution felt it was justified.
They did. Felt justice requires that she spent every last day of her natural life in the penitentiary. They were convinced they had convicted Manny Salado's killer.
And has Exandia ever revealed what actually happened? Where Manny's body is?
No. To this day, she still has not divulged to anybody what she actually done to him or where she disposed of his body. The ultimate fate of Manny Salado remains a dark, unresolved mystery. #outro.
So we've just walked through the truly chilling, intricate story of Exandia Salado, a journey that started with a military marriage under strain in Oklahoma City.
And ended with a first-degree murder conviction, remarkably secured without the victim's body ever being found, based largely on a friend's testimony and that incredible digital trail.
We followed the investigators' meticulous work, piecing together clues. We delved into those deeply unsettling searches found on Exandia's computers.
And we saw the contrasting narratives battling it out in the courtroom, the prosecution's web of circumstance versus the defense's plea of impossibility and reasonable doubt.
This case really does underscore how much criminal investigations have changed in our digital world, doesn't it?
Massively. Even without Manny's body, the sheer volume and the horrifying specificity of Exandia's internet searches, combined with the DNA, April's confession, Rico's testimony, it painted a picture the jury clearly found undeniable.
It showed that a digital blueprint, those online breadcrumbs, can be just as damning, maybe even more so in some ways, than traditional physical evidence like a smoking gun.
Absolutely. And the search for Manny, in a way, continues.
Investigators still check unidentified remains found in the area.
Yes, sources say investigators still rush to check whenever unidentified remains are discovered in central Oklahoma, holding out that faint hope that they might be Manny Salado's body, hoping to bring some final closure to his family.
But Exandia's daughter, Aliand, she still holds on to a different hope, doesn't she?
She does. It's a testament to how complex family bonds and maybe denial can be. She maintains her mother's innocence, still hopes that Manny will somehow come out of hiding and let everybody know that he's okay so my mom can come home.
Such vastly different realities existing side by side.
It really leaves us with a provocative thought, doesn't it? In this world where we leave digital footprints everywhere, every click, every search recorded.
How much do those online searches truly reveal about our deepest, darkest intentions?
And can that digital blueprint for a crime really be as conclusive, as damning, as finding the actual smoking gun, even when the body, the ultimate proof, is never found?
It's a question that echoes far beyond this one case, isn't it? Shaping how justice works now and challenging how we understand guilt, intent, and proof in the 21st century.